certainly we're excited about MLB being here and being back in the swing of doing MLB shows multiple days a week here on Hitting the Books. So looking forward to it. We got the remainder of the Friday card to get through, and we will begin with, actually, it's a pretty good matchup here of National League World Series hopefuls, I guess you could say. I think both of these teams hope that they're maybe going to be World Series bound. We've got the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Philadelphia Phillies, and we've got Yamamoto going to get the start here for the Phillies, and Luzardo on the hill, the lefty for the Philadelphia Phillies in this one. We've got the Dodgers minus 130, road favorites, 8 the total. Dodgers have been feasting on Dodger Stadium, California warmth and sunshine, and obviously the lineup's been just crushing it. And they had run on a tear, obviously, in the beginning of the season. Great performances against the Tigers and the Braves. But this is their first venture on the road this season. I mean, North American venture on the road. Obviously, they started the year over in Japan, but against the Cubs. But their first North American road trip beginning here in Philadelphia. And we did see at times last year that the Dodgers, when they went on the road, it wasn't nearly the same lethal, just absolutely just bearish, just potent lineup that we always saw at home. But I think they probably match up okay here. Luzardo is one of those pitchers. He's a hard pitcher to really handicap and figure out one start to the next. He's got the ability to have quality stuff, but it's not always consistent. It's an interesting spot. Look, I don't want to step in front of the Dodgers. I'm not going to, especially when they're only laying minus 130. But I'm not going to back them either. This is their first road game of the year in North American soil, that is, making the long trip to Philadelphia. I think this game could have some runs in it. I know Yamamoto's been good, but you have to factor in the lineups he's faced. He'll face a little bit more of a tougher one here with the Phillies. And meanwhile, I think the Dodgers, with obviously what they possess as far as in their lineup, should be able to do a little bit of damage here against Luzardo. It's a milder than usual night in Philadelphia in the Northeast. It's been a blast of warmer weather the last 24 hours. So at 8, I think I did make a small bet on the over, but nothing for me on the side here. C-Mac, what do you think here? Dodgers taking on the Phillies.
Yeah, last year, Yamamoto didn't even face the Phillies, I don't think, that I had up here. You didn't have a start against them? Yeah, you didn't.
No.
I was looking at that earlier. So they haven't seen him, and he's been nothing but good since the last year, in the playoffs in these 2 starts. Now, he struggled at times on the road, walking people. The flip side is the other side. Dodgers go on the road. They start 8-0. This is kind of a spot you'd want to fade him. I don't know. Philly bats haven't been really raking here early. And what do we get from Luzardo? I mean, is he going to be the guy who had 11 Ks in this first start, which we've seen? Or he could get ripped here. And, one thing the Dodgers, they match up well, whether it's Will Smith, Kike Hernandez, Teoscar, Edmonds in the 3-hole. I think he's 2 for 5. He's had a great start with the Jack. So, yeah, I mean, Philly's here at plus money maybe, but yeah, and you talked about the total. I think these guys could pitch well, or I think they could get touched a little bit. Kind of just, I didn't have really much on this game. I've just been making money with the Dodgers, mostly team total and their props, start the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like I said, the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are going to lose a few games here on this road trip. But like I said, I don't want to fade.
Yeah, probably.
I might fade the Dodgers after they lose their first game. But until that happens, especially when they're only laying $130, like they are here tonight in this game, I'm definitely going to opt to stay away instead. All right,
they had a day off too.
They did.
It's not like it's a little bit better in this spot than, which it'll happen all year where they're going to be going to another city. So a little bit of plus there.
There's no doubt that does ease the transition just a little bit for sure. All right, we got Arizona and Washington. Diamondbacks, Nationals. Brandon Pfaadt for the Diamondbacks. Joel Irvin here for the Nationals. We've got the Diamondbacks minus 150, road favorites, 8.5 the total. I'll just be a brief here. I don't want to go on and on. I have very little opinion on this game. I think Arizona's the better team. I just don't want to lay minus 150. Pfaadt I like, but I don't like him enough to lay $150 on the road. And I don't know if I want the Nationals, though. That was a brutal series. Painful to watch how bad they were against the Blue Jays this week. It was not a very good series for them. Their pitching wasn't good. Their bullpen wasn't good. They didn't really hit all that much outside of Abrams. Thank goodness they have Abrams, because he was the one guy that was hitting all right in that series for the Nationals. So tough to trust them. I will say this, it's probably a little bit of a better spot for Washington. You know, they're coming back home. It is their home opener. Arizona had to play against the Yankees last night in the Bronx, Yankee Stadium. Travel, got to play now in Washington. So certainly the scheduling dynamics favor the Nationals here, but I don't trust them enough. So it's a pass for me. C-Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think Fogg, he's going to be a lot better here in this start. But he's been a guy that when he's been on the road, I fade him. Even when he started at home, then he kind of went on that great run 2 years ago at the end of the regular year in the postseason. And I think he's gotten better last year. I think he just needed a bunch of time in the bigs. I think he could pitch well here. I lean under. These are the two best pitchers here. I think Irvin could be all right. D-backs have some success off him. I wanted to look too, just glance real quick. I think he faced him once or twice last year, right? Had this up, my bad. Where's he at here?
Yeah, there were a couple head-to-head starts, and the results were solid. Yeah.
Yeah, they were decent. But, yeah, the price is a little bit too high. I want to back the Nats, certain spots. Maybe this could be it. But I'd look to two. Marte, of course, decent numbers. The guy just got paid. And also Naylor in the 3-hole. I think there's some value here. You saw him make that shitty error, which he's not great defensively. But he's the man now here in the 4-hole. I think his RBI price and Jack are solid here, plus 180.
All right, next up, Marlins and Braves. The Atlanta Braves, my goodness. I mean, there's a couple teams that have just had a disaster nightmare first week, and the Atlanta Braves are certainly one of those teams. Can they finally, hopefully home cooking helps them. This 0-7, a horrible start, but they finally return to the friendly confines of Truist Park in the ATL after just getting walloped, really, by the San Diego Padres and the LA Dodgers. Two pretty difficult teams to begin the season. Like, let's not forget, the Padres are rolling, and so are the Dodgers. So pretty tough teams. Now you return home, you play Miami, who have actually had a decent 4-3 start. Schwellenbach on the mound for the Braves, Meyer for the Marlins. Atlanta minus 250, home favorites, 7.5 the total in this game. I don't normally back teams that are winless at this, and I didn't obviously lay minus 250, but I am a big fan of Spencer Schwellenbach. I really am. I think he's going to be a pretty good starter for this team. I think he's a guy that I'm going to be looking to back. And I feel that when the Atlanta Braves, not if, but when the Atlanta Braves win their first game, they're going to do it probably by blowing someone out. It's not going to be just a game where they escape with a win. When they finally get that first win, I feel like it could be a blowout. And if there's ever a blowout spot for an 0-7 team, it's this. Because I think Meyer's numbers, there's nothing about Meyer that indicates long-term success at this level. I think it's a good matchup for a Braves lineup that, look, has been struggling. We know that. But in the last game against the Dodgers, and a pretty good pitcher in Blake Snell, they roughed him up a little bit. They did score 5 runs, and in fact, they were in position to win that game until you know what happened. Shohei Ohtani, walk-off, Jack, in the 9th inning. Yeah. To give the Dodgers the win. And
those were error-ridden runs, though, for the Braves.
No doubt. That there were some errors there in that didn't help Snell. Snell wasn't sharp, but you're right. Wasn't all on him. Obviously, defense kind of let him down as well. I think the Braves get win number 1 here, and I'm going to go the team total route with the Braves here. Over 4.5, which you can get around even money. I got a small piece of the run line here. I don't do many run lines, but tonight I did at even money minus 1.5. So a couple of small Braves bets. Look, it's not easy to lay your money on an 0-17, but this is a matchup that the Miami is definitely a step down from the Padres and the Dodgers. It's a big-time starting pitching advantage, in my opinion, for Atlanta. This has got to be the spot. And if they lose tonight, it's really starting to get time to – it's really going to become time to get worried. If for Atlanta, if this is not the spot to get on the board with their first win of the season. C-Mac, anything you're doing with this game here? Marlins, Braves.
No. There's no way I want to back the Braves. Maybe this could be their spot. 2 starts last year. It's the Braves and a lot of bad starts. They ended for Max Meyer. I think he's going to be a decent pitcher here in the big leagues. We will see. I think he's had Tommy John 1 or 2, maybe 2 already.
Yeah, he's had a lot of injury setbacks, no question about it. Yep.
Yeah. And last year, 6 innings, he gave up 1 run, and he got hit a little bit. In that other start, he gave up 4 against the Braves. So a few of these guys have some good looks. Can the bats wake up? Ozuna's 3 for 6 with a homer. Riley's got a homer off him. A few others. They will. These guys are too good. But this price with them, nah. Nothing. I was interested in Miami a little bit. The more I look at that Marlins lineup, I just don't know how they're going to produce a ton of runs. Yeah.
That's kind of what I see.
Like year in, year out. Yeah. Like some of these guys are young kids that are pretty good, but it's like, man, Hicks, Paulie, Meyer, I don't know. It's rough.
It is rough indeed. All right, Orioles and Royals. Baltimore minus 115, road favorites, 7.5 the total. Dean Kramer on the mound for the Orioles, Seth Lugo for the Kansas City Royals. I want to fade both of these guys. I don't like either pitcher, quite honestly. Kramer was not good in his first start against Toronto. 5 runs, 5 hits, 5.1 innings of work. I don't think Lugo's got only one place to go from last year, and that's down. He is not going to, in my opinion, at his age, duplicate what he did last year for the Kansas City Royals, and he was very solid for them. But we already saw it in that first start of this season for Seth Lugo. It wasn't great against the Cleveland Guardians. 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, gave up a home run. Wasn't very economical. He only lasted 5 innings. He labored in that start. And look, Cleveland's not been a good lineup so far this year. You see what Cleveland's doing offensively? Not very much. So the fact that Lugo strained and sputtered his way through that start against Cleveland, which hasn't been hitting the ball all that well as a team early in the season, is not a good sign either, in my opinion. So here's the issue. I really want to take over 7.5, and I think I still might, but the weather is not hitting weather tonight in Kansas City. Winds blowing in significantly at Kauffman Stadium. It's not going to be that warm. A little bit below average temperatures tonight for this game. So it's definitely not hitters' conditions for this game tonight here at Kauffman. But boy, oh boy, when you talk about pitchers, I want to fade Kramer. I want to fade Lugo right now. So, and the total has fallen. People are betting under because of the weather situation. 8.5 turned into 8. And the 8s have basically been taken out, and it's down to 7.5 now. I think at 7.5, the value's the other way with the over. C-Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, we'll see. It's always been a pitcher's park, you know what I mean, in a big ballpark. I don't know if the wind's that big. The weather isn't great, like you talked about. It's around 48. I just don't like these pitchers really at all. I kind of like the Orioles here. They have some decent numbers too off Lugo. And what do we get? Yeah, last year was really good for most of the year. He finally got touched up a little bit, and the splits were good for him. He was actually even a little better on the road. I don't know if we see that. I think he's 36, or he's about to be 36, is Lugo.
He's not young, that's for sure.
No, he's not. And Kramer, I think the Royals get to him a little bit. Of course, look to Bobby Witt. Massey, Perez could do it. I thought there was some value here. I think this guy's due. The weather isn't great, but I think his RBI at least. Mullins is hot right now. Of course, Santander's gone. But Mountcastle, they want to trade him a little bit. This guy hasn't hit a homer yet. He's still at 273, but he was I think he had 6 jacks in spring, 5 or 6 homers. He was red hot. And in the 8 hole in this lineup tonight. So his RBI is plus 230. I'm going to take a shot with him. I have Westberg too has some good numbers. I forget the numbers are solid. It's pretty small off Lugo, but I like him tonight.
All right, next up we've got Tampa Bay and Texas. Texas minus 130 home favorites, 8.5 the total. Rangers sending Tyler Mahle to the mound, and of course we're going to see Zach Littell here for the Tampa Bay Rays in this game. This price looks cheap to me on Texas, and I'm kind of lining up to fade Tampa a little bit. I know Tampa's 4-2, but look who they played, man. They played the Rockies and they played the Pirates, okay? The first 2 home series. That's about as cupcake and as easy as it gets. And now you're going on the road as just a small road underdog here against by far the best team you've played so far. the Texas Rangers, who have gotten off to a 5-2 start. So when you just take away the pitching matchup, and you look at this price and you say, "Holy shit, this is probably a good value, short price on Texas." That's kind of the way I see it here. But I have my issues with Molly. Molly is one of the I don't know what we're going to get from him. He's not one of my favorite pitchers to back, certainly on this Texas Rangers rotation. If you look at the way he pitched against Boston in his first start, 1 run, 2 hits, 1.2 innings. He had 4 walks. He had command control issues. So I feel it's dirt cheap to take Texas. Kind of want to fade the Rays tonight in this spot. They feasted on bad teams in that little bandbox of a ballpark they're playing in this year at Steinbrenner Stadium down there in Florida against the Pirates and the Rockies, 2 of the worst teams in the NL, if not all of Major League Baseball. I'm lining up to fade Tampa in this spot. The only problem is I don't know if I want to back Malley, the pitcher here tonight for the Texas Rangers. So it's definitely a lean to Texas, though, for me. But I would have liked it with a better pitcher for Texas in this matchup. C-Mac, what do you think here? Rays, Rangers.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get. This Rays lineup, isn't world beaters, but I don't know what here with Molly. I mean, he hasn't pitched a ton the last few years. He's been out in this first start. He goes, an inning and 2/3, 4 walks. He did not look sharp. And their favorites, I can't back him at all in this matchup. So I just had nothing here. I'm off. Maybe the Rangers bats can get going. I think Seager, Langford, look at those guys. Even Jock seems like a decent matchup against Littell, who has had problems on the road, and it's just kind of the classic 5th starter type guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, I definitely think the price is cheap here on Texas, but of course the concern is the fact that we're talking about Tyler Malley on the mound, and so we're going to have to wait and see what we're going to get out of him in this one. All right, next up we've got, as we continue along here, it is Cincinnati and Milwaukee. We've got Nick Martinez for the Reds, and we've got Tyler Alexander for the Milwaukee Brewers. We got Milwaukee minus 130, home favorites, 8.5 the total. I'm on Milwaukee split here, C-Mac. Money line and their team total over. I'm not a big Martinez guy for the Reds. I think he's mediocre at best. I think the Brewers bats can get to him. And I'll be damned if I'm trusting Cincinnati's offense right now. My goodness, they have gone completely ice friggin' cold, this lineup. Just absolutely horrendous offensive performances from this Reds team. They've been shut out in not 1, not 2, but how about 3? Can you believe it? 3 straight games getting shut out, the Cincinnati Reds lineup. So, there's just not a chance I'm back in Cincinnati here. And to make matters worse, great note by Joe Average Fan. Shout out to him in our chat. Flu bug illness rolling through the Reds clubhouse. Many sent back to the hotel, players that is, including the manager, Terry Francona. So not a good situation there as far as the sickness that they're dealing with, making matters even worse. So it's a pretty clear. And look, Tyler Alexander, he's not a flamethrower, but he's crafty. He knows how to pitch, and it's not like he's much worse than Martinez. In fact, I think Martinez might be the worst one. So I think it's a Milwaukee at this price. I like them money line split with their team total, which you can get at, I believe, 4.5 here. I do think they'll score some runs. I don't know about Cincinnati, though. It's been obviously a dreadful 3 games, shutout in 3 straight games. That's pretty hard to do, and yet the Reds have been able to do it, getting blanked in 3 straight games. C-Mac, what do you think here in this one? Reds, Brewers.
I mean, to think, too, they got blanked and they lost all 1-0 in 3 fucking games. Like, with the pitching staff they have, it's like,
but they just
wow.
Bats. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking.
They're going to need runs tonight, because I'm telling you what, Nick Martinez probably not keeping this team to 1 run.
No, I like the Brewers. I like the Brewers team total here. Like, the Reds could do something. Maybe this game could get over. I mean, yeah. It's not like Milwaukee, at least back home. That Yankee series, they just got blown out a little bit, there. They did score some runs, but they just got their ass drilled. And they've come back home. I think they could get some runs tonight. I also like Contreras. Look to him. I think he's 3 for 11 with the homer. I think you get to Martinez tonight.
There we go. Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, and now you got the team going through an illness right now. It's not going to help either. All right, the last game of this Friday night MLB slate, we've got the Cleveland Guardians taking on the LA Angels. We've got Gavin Williams on the mound here for the Guardians. Joel Soriano here for the LA Angels. We've got Gavin Williams and the Guardians, a small road favorite here in the minus 115 range. And the total here sitting at around 8, pretty much across the board, shaded to the over in this game. Look, I mean, the LA Angels have been a bit of a surprise here, pleasant surprise early in this. They're hitting the ball pretty well. Their bullpen is still a little bit suspect, but their offense has been really solid. You look at what they did in St. Louis. They scored, 19 runs in those 3 games. They won 2 of those 3 games, even though the pitching wasn't great. So they certainly were hitting. The question is going to be, what do they get pitching-wise here? One thing I can tell you, Cleveland's not hitting right now. He scored 4 runs in 3 games against San Diego. Not a very good series for them offensively. Gavin Williams, they like him, obviously, and he's a very capable, serviceable starter, but I don't think it was anything to write home about against Kansas City. 2 runs, 4 hits, 5 innings in that game against the Kansas City Royals. Not great for Gavin Williams. Meanwhile, you look at Jose Soriano here for the LA Angels. First start of the year. Now, it was the White Sox, but 2 hit shutout, 7 innings. You go back to last year in August, his last 3 starts, he gave up 3 runs in 15.1 innings. So this is now 4 pretty good starts going back to last year in a row for Joel Soriano, or for Jose. I keep calling him Joel. Jose Soriano here for the LA Angels. And he pitched well against the White Sox. I don't know. Guardians 2 and 4, they're not hitting. I don't know if they deserve to be road favorites here. I know the Angels were supposed to be pretty bad coming into the year, but don't tell them that. I like what I've seen from their lineup. I think obviously Soriano pitched well in his first start, and he pitched well the last few times he started last year. I think at this price, it's the Angels for me, CMAC, minus 105. And what I would do, though, is at the very least split it up. So the one thing the Angels still have is a pretty suspect bullpen. That's definitely something I would consider, that if you're going to bet the Angels here, either bet the first 5 only, or at the very least split it between the first 5 and the full game, because it's still a little bit of a dicey relief core that Angels team has. CMAC, what do you think here? Guardians, Angels.
I know the Guardians, the offense has just not been there. Soriano looked good in that first start, and 2 starts against the Guardians. One was good, I believe, on the road. I had it here, and the other was not so great. He gave up 4, and then at Cleveland, he gave up nothing. 6 innings, 88 pitches, 3 Ks, and a walk. I don't know here. Yeah, the Guardians aren't hitting. Like, the weather's kind of nice tonight, because I kind of lean under, though. I don't know if we get a ton of runs, and I don't know if there's enough trust with Gavin Williams. This is a tough game. So I still think the Guardians are a little bit the better team here. So I lean under in this game. Jose Ramirez, though, decent numbers. And Gotti here, it's just like when you see his price, he's just 2 for 7 with the homer off Soriano. But, the Jacks plus 625, his RBIs plus 210. It's just way too big for too good of a hitter, to have that.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we just good news on the betting front here as the show winds down here. New York Yankees team total over is a winner here for yours truly. 4.5. We took that against Pittsburgh. Mitch Keller pitching like it here so far today against that Yankees lineup. So, yeah, 7 runs on the board now for the New York Yankees. Problem is I took the Giants, and Verlander doesn't have it today. They had a lead, and he's given up the lead. That's the problem with Verlander. You're going to get games from him now. He's an old man at this stage of he's an old fart at this stage of his career, and he's going to have games like this where he's just not sharp, and he's not sharp today. He just gave the 3-1 lead back, and now 3-3 Mariners and Giants. So hopefully San Francisco pulls through, though. Still, I like that Giants team. I don't think they're totally fugazi for this 5-1 start. I think they could be a little under the radar, pretty solid team this year. We'll have to wait and see. But like I said, they're off to a pretty good start, the Giants, so far. All right, that's the Friday MLB card. We did not have an NBA show. So before we get to best bets and we wrap up the show, I'm just going to throw out a couple NBA picks that I like tonight. We weren't able to do a show. Ski had some commitments today. So there was no show with me, Ski Profit, Dutch, and Wham. NBA. So I'll just throw out a couple bets. We're not going to obviously go game by game, but just a couple bets that I'm on. With the NBA lately, I've been on more totals than sides, especially overs. I think Utah, Indiana is a good over. I think Phoenix, Boston's a pretty good over, even without Durant. Phoenix doesn't play any defense right now. And I think you're going to see that game probably end up going over the total as well. Cleveland, San Antonio, I think probably a higher scoring game. New Orleans, Lakers, I think is a decent over. And then from a side perspective, I took a little shot with Charlotte just because I think Sacramento laying 11 on the road is kind of nuts, kind of ridiculous. So I did take a small shot there with Charlotte plus the points.
Hornets got to score. Yeah.
No doubt. That's the concern, but I think it's just too many for Sacramento on the road. I'm riding Oklahoma City again. What else is new there? I know they're on the road laying points, but they're playing so well, laying 5.5, 6 there against Houston. And I like Denver.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like Denver too.
Denver against Golden State. Denver off that, just debilitating game against Minnesota, and then the flat spot against San Antonio right after that. It's their get well right. This is the game where, all right, we've had a tough week. We had that brutal loss in that marathon overtime against the Timberwolves, and then we fell flat in a brutal spot against the Spurs. Now it's time for them to get right. They got the rest advantage. Golden State had to play last night, so I think it's a good spot at a pick 'em there with Denver to get the job done against Golden State. So there's some NBA looks for me since we didn't have the NBA show today. You should ask CMAC and be courteous to CMAC. Is there anything you like NBA wise or no?
Yeah, I'll give you what I'm on here. I guess I bet this one already. Yeah, it's just tough to go against Oklahoma City, but I think you get the best from Houston tonight. Whether they cover here, but I got to take the under in this game. Two teams that are not fast, even though how great offensively Oklahoma City is and efficient. They're one of the top defensive teams. And, Houston is very good as well, and they're slow. This total's too high. They're under. The total's dropping a little too much. I kind of want to pull the over now. It's Portland, Chicago. I've been looking at this. It's down to 234.5 in that game. And you talked about Denver. I liked it. And another total moving up, but I don't know if it gets there, is Dallas and the Clippers. It's up to 226. I don't know. I was kind of looking at the under in that game later tonight.
Yeah, that one's moving a little higher than I thought.
Moving up, yes.
Over or under in that. But yeah, like I said, I like the Clippers a little bit there. It's just that I full disclosure, I bet the Clippers at minus
10.5 now. I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, I laid a better number. I think the Clippers do win. I think they probably win by double digits, but you're right. You're not getting as good of a number right now with that. Good stuff. All right, just a reminder, too, we're going to be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, Saturday edition of the Hitting the Book show. It'll be a Final Four preview edition. We'll get you ready. These games, they better deliver, man. I've heard all the hype this week. This is supposed to be the 4 best teams in the country all season. You could make that argument that the 4 best teams this season in college basketball from start to finish are the teams playing in the Final Four this weekend. Duke, Houston, Florida, Auburn. Really, they've really been the 4 best teams in the country pretty much all season, start to finish. So this is the Final Four that, people wanted to see, and hopefully the games deliver.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll see, but sometimes
I'm ready to watch it.
All this hype, and it's a 20-point blowout in both games. So I've seen it work as well. But like I said, we will tee up those 2 games, the 2 Final Four national semifinals tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, and we'll toss in a couple baseball bets at the end of the show. Just a couple of the games we like at the end, just to give you a little bit of baseball tomorrow, but primarily it'll be Final Four preview on the Saturday edition of Hitting the Books. All right, let's put a wrap on this one. Best bets for this Friday. CMAC, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, I got to make this basically the Brewers, the team total, because there's 3.5, 4. The 3.5 is really juiced. So instead of giving that, but anyways, I'll give you this. Give me the under here. Cleveland Angels under 8, minus 110.
There you go. Cleveland LA Angels under 8 for CMAC with his best bet for this Friday night MLB slate. My best bet for this MLB slate, I'm going to go with, let me see here. I'm going to go Baltimore, Kansas City over 7.5. I can't justify that that weather alone should have that total where it is at 7.5. I think Kramer is not someone I'm really excited about backing this year. Lugo to me is on a regression train this year, and he wasn't sharp in his first outing. And keep in mind, he faced a weak hitting Cleveland team in that first start. I just think the total's fallen too much. 7.5 now. I think there's value over the total with the Baltimore Orioles and Kansas City Royals. So Baltimore KC over 7.5 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And we'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Hitting the Book Show. Final four. We'll get you ready.
Shout out to the chat.
Yep.
Everyone in here. Phil Kale, Justin, Mikey Money, T-Moss, Oldie, Dan Trout. What's going on? Shout out to everyone in here.
Dutchy. I see Dutch in the
Join
chat.
us tomorrow.
Good to see Dutch as well. My partner in crime.
Where's his NBA bets?
Yeah, we should get his NBA.
What's he on?
If he is up. If he's, I don't know if he's still on the.
He's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, and we're looking at the plugs. We're not plugs. No, we're not plugs. Maybe on the NBA show we are, but not here.
Okay. All right.
Oh, man, good stuff. Yeah, shout out to everyone. We appreciate you guys. And you know what? We're closing in on 700 subscribers for the channel. So keep spreading the word about Hitting the Books. Justin, T. Moss, everyone, Jorge, Dan Trell, Joe Average, Dutch, Sports Money, Gold Jew, Osby, Phil the Kill. We appreciate you guys, no doubt. We'll get you ready for the Final Four tomorrow. We'll throw in a couple baseball bets that we like at the end of the show tomorrow.
Final Four.
Good stuff. Yep. And next week, by the way, we'll be on 4 days with baseball. I looked at the schedule. There's night games galore, 4 of the 5. Only Thursday is there a lot of more day games. So we'll do 4 shows this week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, with MLB hitting the books. So stay tuned for that. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, for the Final Four, a preview edition of the Hitting the Books show. Until then, class dismissed.
Peace.